On the news tonight, federal lawmakers adjourns plenary to honor demised colleague. Stakeholders engages religious leaders in the build-up to peaceful polls. Plus, Nigerian police gets new spokesman. Hello, you're welcome to PTV Tonight. I am Poloum, David. The Senate on Wednesday adjourned plenary till Thursday to honor the late member of the House of Reps representing Ibegu-Lekki Federal Constituency of Lagos State, Abayomi Ayola, who died on December 30, 2018, aged 60. The federal lawmakers had adjourned plenary on December 20, 2018 to let the thing participate in the Yuletide and New Year celebrations. Before the adjournment, the Senate President Bukola Saraki read a letter from President Muhammadu Buhari seeking confirmation for the appointment of an 11-member management team for the Northeast Development Commission. The agency is to be headed by Major General Paul Tafa as chairman and Modibo Tuku as the managing director. Saraki also urged his colleagues to work towards the completion of the legislative business of the Senate's 8. He noted that the Red Chamber in the last 3.5 years has passed 257 bills, some of which he described as groundbreaking.
In promoting justice and bringing respect to the country, if the judiciary is violated or eroded or otherwise, therefore, or brought in repute, so do the values attached to its role in a democracy. Everyone in the political value chain should therefore do nothing that could raise tension in the country. Nigerians are looking up to leaders who douse flames that have potential to threaten the peace and well-being of our country. I urge you, my distinguished colleagues, to bear all this in mind as we move towards the end of this historic Senate. The integrity of the Constitution must be preserved at all times, and the service to the people in a unified country should be our ultimate goal. Looking ahead to general election, I wish all contestants and aspirants luck in the forthcoming elections, including those here among us. I enjoy all to bear in mind that it should be a contest of ideas. We shall spew and human approaches to political discourse and communicate ideas in a civil manner. Everything must be done to ensure that every sacrifice must be made to ensure free and fair elections. INEC is encouraged to engage the parties and be transparent in its decision making. It's important that people are assured of the Commission's resolve and commitment to credible elections.
Ayola of Ibegu-Lekki Federal Constituency of Lagos State, who died on Saturday, 30 December 2018 after a brief illness. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, with our tradition and practice, I move that the Senate observe 1 minute silence in honor of the deceased and adjourn it till Thursday, 17th January 2019. I so move.
May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. Amen.
The death of a federal serving lawmaker, Abayomi Ayola, representing the Ibegu-Lekki Federal Constituency of Lagos State, stalled plenary on Wednesday. The adjournment was a traditional practice of the National Assembly to honor one of their own, as the House adjourned to Thursday for the valedictory and tribute message. Emmanuel Hijini has the reports.
Federal lawmakers arrive in plenary after 3 weeks of holidays. But the notice of announcement of death of a serving lawmaker announced by the Speaker Yakubu Dogara stalled the day's proceedings.
Heavy heart but total submission to the will of Almighty Allah, we, the family of Honorable Otumba Abayomi Ayola Abdul Kabir, wish to officially inform the House of his death. The sad event took place on the 30th of December 2018 at the St. Nicholas Hospital in Lagos, and he was buried the second day in line with Islamic injunctions. This notification becomes necessary for official purposes, and we shall be grateful for your kind assistance and support. Final touch, the certificate and so on, affidavit of death declaration, accept the assurances of our highest regards and best wishes.
The Speaker also announced the demise of former President Shehu Shagari,
which occurred on Friday, December 28, 2018, at the age of 93, after a brief illness at the National Hospital, Abuja. The late Alhaji Shehu Usman Ali Shagari GCFR was born on the 25th day of February 1925 at Shagari village in Sokoto State. He was elected as member of the Federal House of Representatives in 1954 for Sokoto West, and subsequently served the nation as the first executive president and commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria from 1979 to 1983. The policies, programs, legacies of his administration in the areas of housing, industries, roads, transportation infrastructure.
Prayers were held for the repose of the souls of the departed.
Thank you for the gift of life. We bless and worship you because it was your breath that gave us life.
Both politicians passed on 30th and 31st of December while the National Assembly were on recess. Plenary was later adjourned to Thursday, January 17th for validatory and a tribute in honor of the departed as customary. Emmanuel Ejine, PTV News, Abuja.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has resolved as principal President Muhammad Buhari of rearranging the trial of Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onnoghen, before the Code of Conduct Tribunal for non-declaration of assets. He said Buhari had never had any fact of financial misdemeanor involving the CGN until Saturday evening. According to the Vice President, it is highly regrettable that his senior colleague, the CGN, has to go through this process, but that Buhari had issued specific instructions that anti-graft institutions be allowed to do the job without any interference. Osinbajo gave this account on Wednesday at a one-day conference organized by Online Publishers Association of Nigeria with the theme Free Press and Objectives, reporting at the 2019 election year. Edo State Governor Obaseki has urged Nigerians not to take for granted the sacrifices of fallen heroes paid to ensure the country's indivisibility. Obaseki gave the charge while speaking to newsmen on the occasion of the 2019 Armed Forces Remembrance Day held recently in Benin City. Ellen Alasko has more on these details presented from our studio.
Governor Godwin Obaseki says the event was an annual solemnity for the heroes. He stated that his administration had institutionalized welfare support for the fallen heroes. He enjoined Nigerians to remember the sacrifices made by them to keep the country together.
Armed Forces Remembrance Day is, as you know, a very solemn event. We remember those who fought to keep this country together. It's because of their efforts, the sacrifices they made, that we still have a country today, and so we shouldn't take it for granted. For people who are old enough to have witnessed the Civil War, this country was tested and was at its brink. Institutional arrangements, we continue to interact with them, we continue to support the activities of the engineers. As you can see, there are structures in place to cater somewhat to their medical needs. As a routine, provide financial support and some support to the families of our fallen heroes.
He, however, said the Nigerian government could do more to ensure serving military men and officers were well catered for. The event was climaxed by symbolic release of white pigeons, laying of wreaths, hoisting of flag and 21 gunshot salutes in honor of the fallen heroes.
The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has appointed Assistant Commissioner of Police, Frank Mba, as a new Force Public Relations Officer. The Deputy Force spokesman, CSP Abemo Adenio, made this known on Wednesday in Abuja, saying that the post moves with immediate effect. Adenio said that Mba was charged with the IG Adamu to bring his wealth of experience to bear in revamping the image of the force. Mba takes over from acting DSP Mashood Jumo, who has been deployed to other national assignments. Until his appointment, Mba was a special fraud unit Ikoyi in Lagos. The new spokesman studied law at the University of Lagos and had master's degree in law from the University of Dundee, Scotland, United Kingdom. He also holds a certificate in national and international security from Harvard University in the US. Mba was a former police spokesman both at the headquarters and Lagos State Command. He was a member of the Nigerian police contingent to the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Liberia between 2006 and 2007. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC in Enugu, says it requires at least 10,342 security personnel for the successful conduct of the 2019 general elections in the state. The Resident Electoral Commissioner for Enugu State, Emeka Onanamadu, disclosed this to newsmen on Wednesday in Enugu. 10,342 security personnel will be securing the 2,958 polling units in the state during the general election. The Kaduna State People's Democratic Party gubernatorial candidate, Hashiru Kudun, says he will turn around the fortunes of citizens of the state's elected governor come March 2nd. He stated this today during the flag-off ceremony at a trade fair complex in Kaduna, the state's capital, while stressing that his administration will be curbing what he described as the Kaduna economic hardship that has bedeviled the state. Hashiru's speech was complemented by Kaduna State PDP campaign deputy director, General Benjamin Sarki, on other party stakeholders.
That it's a kind of showcase for the gubernatorial candidates for the state. It's just like a showcase. It's showcasing the person that they want to be the governor for the state.
So what's your take about the crowd, about
wow, it's a wow reaction actually, because I wasn't expecting the crowd. It's overwhelming. It's encouraging.
Does that send the kind of message to
yes,
the PDP?
Of course it does. You can see that people came out, from all the corners of Kaduna to come and support this candidate. That's the way I feel.
What message do you have then for people who have their voter cards and then the elections?
I would advise people that let this crowd let it translate to the number of votes that we are counting for PDP. So it's not just for us to gather around there. We'd like people to come out to actually vote for this candidate on the day of the election.
Today, the people of Kaduna State has given a resounding voice to their preparation in ensuring they bring about a government that care about their concerns, and a government that will not come and demolish their houses, a government that will not come and disrespect their traditional rulers and sack them, a government that will not come and sack teachers in the civil service, a government that will not come and they have come to demonstrate their willingness to ensure that they restore the dignity of people and they rescue the Kaduna State from the clutches of those who do not mean well for it. And because you can see the 3.5 years of APC Kaduna State have not brought anything but untold hardship, have not brought anything but so much harassment, intimidation, that people are not even free to express themselves. And today, the 3.5 years of APC in Kaduna State have also brought so much hunger, have also brought so much insecurity, and has brought so much division. So the people of Kaduna today are willing and ready to unite themselves, to ensure they bring a government that would unite them, a government that will ensure that it gives them a sense of belonging. And that government, they say, is the government of the People's Democratic Party. And it's a record that we applied for a bigger venue than this. We applied for Murtala Square, we applied for Ahmadu Bello Stadium, we applied for Kaduna Township Stadium. But they refuse to give us because they are afraid and they are intimidated by the large turnout that was going to be in those places. But now, to the glory of God, they refused and they made sure we came here to international conferences. But you could see the outing, the last turnout, the people outside were 3 times more than the people inside. So this is clearly a demonstration of the willingness of the people to change and bring about a government that would ensure the betterment of the livelihood of the people of the State.
We've got a short break now. More stories after the break. Do stay. You're welcome back, and I'm heading straight to the foreign scene, starting from Kenya. Kenya's president on Wednesday said security forces had killed all 4 militants who stormed an upscale hotel complex in Nairobi the previous day, and an attack that killed no fewer than 14 people. Uhuru Kenyatta said 14 civilians were confirmed dead, and over 700 others have been safely evacuated. He said in quotes the attack on the Study 2 hotel began shortly after 3 p.m. on Tuesday with an explosion in the parking lot, and then a suicide bomb blasted in the foyer, police said. Somali militant Islamist group Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the attack. Prime Minister Theresa May's government faced a no-confidence vote on Wednesday after a crushing defeat of her Brexit bypass deal by Parliament left Britain's exit from the European Union in disarray just 10 weeks before it is due to leave. Lawmakers voted 432 to 202 against a deal, the worst defeat in modern British history, triggering political chaos that could lead to a disorderly exit from the EU or even to a reversal of the 2016 decision to leave. But the clock ticking down to March 29, the date set in law for Brexit, the United Kingdom is now in deepest political crisis in half a century as it grapples with how or even whether to exit the European project it joined in 1973. And that's where we bring the news to an end this night. Many thanks for watching. I am Poloum. David, have a good night.